This is it. This recipe is a blast from my past. Crispy Escovitch Saltfish between what's hands down the best cocoa bread you can ever make. Hey, I'm Nick and today we're making Escovitch Saltfish Sandwich. Trust me, this is a game changer, so let's get right into it. So the first thing we will work on is the saltfish. Before we can do anything to this, we have to desalt it first. You can boil it, but the best way for this recipe is to rinse off the excess salt and soak it in fresh water for a few hours. You still want it just slightly salty, so give it a taste to gauge how much salt you remove. Next, remove the undesirables, fins, skins and bones. If we boil the saltfish, this step will be really easy, but the cause of boiling is that it will end up overcooking the saltfish. I don't want to feel like me a chew on leather. It's really easy to find the pin bones, they are organized in rows, so just feel for them and yank them out. Next, cut out the backbone. Make sure you cut close to the bone to not waste anything. The collarbone comes out fairly easy, just try not to cut off too much meat. You might miss a few bones, but that never really ended up being a problem, but still, be careful when eating this. Fresh ground pimento or allspice is the only thing I'm going to season this with. You can do a lot more with your favorite powdered seasons, maybe a little black pepper, but fresh ground pimento has a wide range of flavors that's enough to really carry the whole thing. That's exactly why it's called allspice. Season generously on both sides. To get a good sear and to stop this from breaking apart when we finally fry them, the surface needs to be dry. You can use a paper towel to pat these dry before seasoning. That's quick and easy, but leaving these in the fridge uncovered is the best way to get rid of the surface moisture. A nice heavy bottom pan like this is the best thing for a perfect sear because it holds onto and transfers heat really well. I need enough oil for a shallow fry. Just let that get ripping hot. These have been in the fridge for maybe 35 minutes. The upside has dehydrated a lot, but the side that was down is still kinda tacky. The oil is hot now, so let's see how bad I'm going to mess these up. Place them in skin side down. As soon as they are golden brown and crispy, you can flip them. Fish cooks really easy and saltfish is still fish. We want this ripping hot to sear the outside really quick. As soon as both sides are brown nicely and crispy, we can remove them. Just drain off the excess oil. It's not as popular today, but when I was little, almost all corner shops had a glass display case with Escovitch Saltfish. This was one of my favorite snacks to have after school. Not a lot of things are as nostalgic as biting into a piece of spicy saltfish sandwich between a cocoa bread. Even the worst part of that experience, which was picking out the bones, still bring back good memories. Most shopkeepers were not too meticulous with removing the bones like me in this video, but I don't think people really cared. Yeah, it was just part of the experience. Alright, show off some of that oil because it's now time for the Escovitch. Escovitch is unbelievably delicious and complex, yet incredibly simple at the same time. I'm making the most basic Escovitch sauce. Don't let basic fool you though, this is still a banger. I only need sliced onions, sliced carrot and some scotch for heat. Escovitch sauce has to be spicy and Scotch bonnet pepper adds not just heat but a unique spicy flavor. And finally a bit of pimento. I'm just barely breaking these to release the flavor. All of that goes into the pot. As long as we didn't burn the saltfish, the oil will add a bag of flavor. Next, season with a pinch of salt and a pinch of sugar. The sugar will help to slightly caramelize the veggies and make the sauce taste a lot fuller, as well as balance out the next ingredient, a big splash of vinegar. Sour should be the primary taste with sweet, salty and spicy playing only minor supporting roles. Next, grab the fried saltfish and we are going to pour over the Escovitch sauce. The saltfish will soak up all those juices and flavors as this cools. This is bomb a day or two after when all the flavors really get to know each other. It's still great same day, so I'm going to set that aside for now. I have had a lot of cocoa bread, but this right here is the best yet. For the greatest accuracy, I need a kitchen scale because I'm going to weigh most of the ingredients. Start with 4 ounces coconut milk. This is actually where Cocobread gets its name. 4 ounces whole milk for 8 total ounces of liquid. Using both milks will make this super rich. 2 tablespoons brown sugar to feed the yeast and give that characteristic sweetness Cocobread is known for. Half teaspoon salt. And finally, half tablespoon instant yeast. Next, we simply mix to dissolve everything completely. All these ingredients are room temperature. This recipe does not require you to heat anything. Next up, we weigh the flour. I want 1 pound all-purpose flour. This is a 50% hydration dough, 16 ounces flour to 8 ounces liquid. Next, I'm going to add a little over half the flour to the liquid mixture. I'm making a pre-ferment which helps the flavor and texture and also cuts down kneading time. I'm just mixing to get the flour hydrated a bit. A whisk is probably not the best thing for this. Next, I'm simply going to wrap and rest for 15 minutes. That's very sticky, but we have a lot of gluten development. We can now add the rest of the flour to this and knead it in. This will still be kinda dry. This does not require a lot of kneading, just enough to get most of the flour hydrated. The final ingredient we need is softened butter. 1.5 to 2 ounces is enough. It will completely hydrate the rest of the flour. I have been working on this recipe for a while to get it super precise. Weight helps with that. As soon as the dough is finally hydrated and the butter is mixed in, we can ball it up and wrap it up for the final proof. Final proof will only take 15 minutes and I'm only letting the dough get to about 50% bigger before moving to the next steps. I want 4 thickers out of this dough, so I'm going to fold this over onto itself and ball it up to provide additional structure. Notice how smooth this is with minimal kneading. You could eyeball this, but for 4 even portions, I'm going to use a kitchen scale. If you follow the recipe precisely, the weight of the final dough is almost always 1 pound 10 ounces or 26 total ounces, with maybe half an ounce less or more. I want 4 portions, so 26 divided by 4 will give me 4 portions that weigh 6.5 ounces. I'm going to fold these over onto themselves and ball them up to give each Cocobread additional structure. I only let the dough rise to 50% bigger because I factored in how much time weighing and shaping would take. It's still proofing. I don't know if you noticed, but I haven't used 1 ounce of additional flour to prevent sticking. This dough is at the perfect hydration where it's still very soft but still not sticky. I'm simply rolling these into this about ½ inch thick. I need these wide enough to make a sandwich. Rolling and then turning helps to give it a consistent round shape. I have some melted butter which I'm going to use to brush one side of each round. Finally, fold in half to form a semicircle. Just repeat with the next 3 Cocobread. They don't look it right now, but these are going to get super thick. I already have a greased and lined baking tray. All that's left now is to figure out how to fit these on so all 4 of them can work. And voila! I'm going to spritz these with some milk to keep the bread tacky during the early stages of baking. Water works too, but milk gives it a nice shiny finish, which is what I'm going for. This goes in the oven preheated to between 375 to 400 degrees for 50 to 20 minutes or until nice and golden. Spritz with milk a couple times early before it dries off completely. A tacky surface ensures I get a nice even rise. Turn the baking tray a few times if you're not getting even browning on each loaf, and that's it. The best Cocobread you will ever have. The milk gives a nice sheen and a thick crust, but if I use water to spritz this, I would have gotten a more golden brown and thinner crust. To finish these off, brush with melted butter. Salted butter takes this to the next level. A thick, salty, buttery crust is pure deliciousness. This cocoa bread is heavenly. Don't take my word for it. Give this recipe a shot. It's almost foolproof. Damn, that is soft. I almost forgot that we were making a sandwich. Well, let's assemble everything. This isn't typical in an Escovitch Saltfish sandwich, but adding sliced tomato and shredded lettuce kicks this up a couple notches. Stuff that with 2 pieces of that crispy pimento saltfish, and finally top that off with the tangy Escovitch veggies. That's not even the best part. I'll get to that in a second, but have a look at that deliciousness. I was going for a really thick cocoa bread to hold everything, but I'm still surprised everything still fit. Alright, here's the best part.